I've been feeling this topic of divine will a lot lately, and it's just another way to look at divine alignment, really, aligning with divine will and merging with it from within. So it's not something that is outside of us, is what I've been feeling for so long and experiencing too personally. Even when it seems we're making choices that are based on an intuition or something in our souls, and it might lead to something quite painful, like completing a relationship, for example. It's a very common one, especially on this path of awakening and ascension. This is a necessary thing sometimes. So it can lead us there, this alignment with divine will from within. And I say from within because we are part of the divine. We are an embodiment of the divine. We have a divine self that is always working to become more embodied. We are always actually on that path, whether we are consciously calling it that or not. I really feel like that's a huge aspect of our ascension as humans. It's part of our sacred humanity. So there is something about divine will and holding it as something that's not outside of us. The divine is not doing something to us or making us do anything or go through anything. What's happening is the divine is aligning somehow with our souls. This is how I feel it, and our divine self. And sometimes life's reflections then show us actually what our divine self wants us to see. The parts of us that it wants us to truly embrace, truly bring love to, truly process with, and aspects of our soul as well that are in pain. This is what life's mirrors want to show us. However, it's not always about pain either. Life's mirrors are also about what's really good about us and the progress that we've made. And I think it can be, I know for me personally, it can be a lot harder sometimes to let in, for parts of me to let in the goodness reflections, rather than just the challenges that life presents. But our divine self wants us to see both, otherwise that's very unbalanced. That's 4D consciousness, actually, is that imbalance. And that's where the real wrestling match comes in, around aligning with divine will and acknowledging that it's coming from within us and not something being done to us. It's not just something we're surrendering to regarding a god on high or the will of the goddess as a priestess in other lifetimes for women. So that is a very big distinction of understanding that the divine is also not an angry parent. This has been a big one for me. I had a big epiphany about this in the summer, actually. I was feeling, oh my gosh, parts of me have been this whole time relating to the divine as mom and dad can take things away from me or give me things as a reward. But there's some consciousness of being punished on some level, even though I've worked that so much this lifetime and probably other lifetimes as well, or really lived into that actually as a timeline in other lifetimes too. That's a big one. So once I was aware of that, then I started to feel the divine actually as divine beloved a bit more with me. We are creating together. We are aligning our wills together. And it is never in the divine's heart without our best interest at heart. Even if we go through trials and tribulations, the divine is with us. The divine is understanding that we're co-creating this reality in order to move through something, to heal something, not just learn a lesson. There's something about that can feel like quite a punishing, actually, lens on life's lessons, but it's really about moving through things to find healing, to find more willingness, more will to be aligned with divine will, and also taking responsibility for our realities that we create, and acknowledging that everything in our reality is also of the divine and from the divine. There is nothing that we are walking out, even if it's difficult, that isn't also of the divine somehow and part of divine will and the willingness of our souls. So we can't just pass the buck on to divine will as this energy that's trying to take over and wants power over us somehow, and that's why we're always going through stuff. That's just not true in my experience. But that's a very high frequency connection with the divine, and takes work in order to maintain that feeling. And like I said, I sometimes have to go in with parts or aspects that don't really feel that necessarily. I would say most of the time there is a divine connection, and sometimes it's gotten a bit convoluted. But the real heart of the divine, I truly feel the divine the most when my heart is broken open emotionally by an emotional process I'm going through. As long as my parts are not spinning in self-punishment somehow. Because as soon as that spin out happens, there's no access. It's a blackout. And that's not helpful. It's actually very difficult. So that's what I wanted to share, I guess, about divine will for today. This topic, of course, came up because today's Sunday service, free Sunday service on Zoom, led by Raphael and Shalel, is about this topic of divine will. And we have this beautiful planetary alignment happening at the same time. So it's like divine alignment, planetary alignment reflecting to us our divine alignment within and outside of us, aligning more with resonance outside and inside, really bringing parts and aspects of us together. This is my ongoing process, and it's very humbling. I'll share more about that in another video. And it's just this really potent time right now of really feeling into this topic of divine will and what the relationship is to that inside of you at this time. So maybe I'll see you at our Sunday service today, and if not, you can always take in the recording. It will be free and available on our YouTube and our social media accounts. So thank you for listening. Bye for now.